Alright then, Dewsbury-Hall has been announced and Matt Laws wrote an article on how he could be implemented and indeed how Chelsea will play under Maresca.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy talk. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
Yo people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel, Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I do hope you're doing well, mate. I really do hope that. I had a little browse of this article and it does look really interesting because it speaks more about Reece James going into midfield and what Dewsbury-Hall brings to Chelsea and what it means for us tactically. And Matt Law has good information, and obviously he's got ins at Chelsea Football Club, so he's obviously been informed a little bit more. And when it comes to tactics and how Chelsea's going to play, I find that really interesting, so I wanted to bring this to you in this evening's video, and hopefully you guys will find it interesting too. So I want to thank you as always for joining me here on the channel. Thank you for supporting the content. Super simple, like and subscribe if you want to. If you choose to, hit the bell. And if you're in the charitable mood and you're liking videos and commenting, why not share the content? Alright, so I'm sure many of you have seen it. Of course, Dewsbury-Hall's been announced. There's pictures of him and Ben Chilwell at Cobham. Of course, he used to play with Chilwell in the academy at Leicester. He used to love watching Kante. He was there when Kante was there. Of course, he's got a relationship with Wes Fofana, who's very excited that he's signed for Chelsea. And generally, there's like a lot more excitement around Dewsbury-Hall now than, from when he was originally being linked, and there was a lot of doom and gloom. Not from me, I'd like to say, because that's not really my style, but I kind of was pretty measured about it, I'd like to think, but and thought that, yeah, this could be a good signing. And a lot of people are sort of coming around. £30 million, of course, with a £5 million Golden going the other way in terms of generating revenue, and he talks a good game, Dewsbury-Hall. Many of you would have seen the interview he did with Chelsea. A little bit nervous at first. He's 25, but he's still a young lad. But this represents a senior player now in the Chelsea squad, which is good. And by the way, most welcome to have someone a little bit more of a grown-up that's played a lot of English football and, is sort of got good nous. And, I feel like it's an important addition. But yeah, he speaks a good game. He talks really positively about Enzo Maresca and says, yeah, he's like... he's obviously like a methodical, crazy tactician guy, but he's also quiet. Apparently, he's got this gentle side, a very human side to him. And he says, yeah, with the talent we've got here at Chelsea, if nurtured right, and of course he's waxing lyrical about Maresca as a coach, he says Chelsea could be very dangerous. But we are going to hop into this article now by Matt Law on The Telegraph. So let's jump on in. Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall fits into the Swiss Army knife master plan that new Chelsea head coach Enzo Maresca will start work on this week. Chelsea's non-international players, including new signing Dewsbury-Hall, return for pre-season training on Thursday, with Maresca keen to have a squad of, again, using that term, Swiss Army knife players. Yeah, so a Swiss Army knife is a multi-tool, of course, so it's a player. He's obviously even briefed this term because he uses it multiple times in the article, but inferring, I guess, that players that can do multiple things. So when they move around the pitch and go in different positions, they can play multiple different roles, I guess making it harder for the opposition team to pick up what certain individuals are doing. Dewsbury-Hall is viewed as a player who can fill the number 8 role and the number 10 role in Maresca's team, and being left-footed brings greater balance to the midfield. Of course, this is something that I was talking about because we've got no left-footed midfielders. To have one in there, it suddenly poses a different question to the opposition players. What foot do they put you on? Oh, wait, it's all the other guys that are right-footed. This guy's left-footed, and then creates confusion and opens up different passing lanes as well, which is really important. Maresca wants players who can play in more than one position or role in his squad, with some inside Chelsea referring to such players as Swiss Army knives. There you go. This is why the club are still looking at signing a left-footed defender. Of course, with Bologna's Italy international Riccardo Calafiori, one option being considered. And of course, this is something that's been publicised, reiterated many times by transfer guru Fabrizio Romano. He says, Chelsea and Arsenal, but Chelsea are interested in Riccardo Calafiori. They're considering him. He's a good profile. He's young. He's left-footed. He's positionally versatile. Can play left back as well as left centre back, which is kind of the perfect player they're looking for. And of course, it's a Maresca countryman. He's Italian. I don't know if that would, mean anything. Maresca wants the defence that can operate as a back four or a back three, which would be good, changing of formation. Nottingham Forest's Murillo is another left-footed defender who has been on Chelsea's radar, but his asking price is currently considered far too high. You'd assume, though, the asking price for Calafiori would also be high because he's... I know Italy didn't do great in the Euros and they, crashed out, but he was good. And of course, he was great for Bologna and qualified them for Champions League. And, Juve are looking at him because, of course, Motta, the Bologna manager's gone there. So he's a high-profile player that you'd think would demand a lot. But it's still Bologna selling and, they don't have that Premier League money. Though now they've got that Champions League money. Let's read on. Maresca may well start with 3 central defenders next season to allow Reece James or Malo Gusto to operate higher up the pitch or invert into midfield. Now, of course, if we're talking about right backs inverting, from what we know about Reece James and Malo Gusto, you'd say Reece James, club captain, of course, and let's be fair, better player than Malo Gusto, and Malo Gusto is still amazing. But Malo Gusto seems like a sort of dynamic up and down right back, and yes, James can do that, but James can also play in midfield. He's done it for multiple different football clubs, and indeed for a game for England and stuff. He is very capable of playing in central midfield. So that would mean Reece James at right back / inverting right back, and then you could have a Tosin, you could have a Levi Colwill, and then you could have a Calafiori at the sort of left back role, but it's not really a left back, is it? So yes, Reece James could invert into the midfield, but on Levi Colwill, he will not be asked to play a traditional left-back role, but could play as a left-sided centre-back. A position Mark Cucurella filled before at Brighton, Cucurella is also capable of inverting into midfield, as he proved last season. We saw that under Pochettino. If Maresca wants to play James or Gusto as a more traditional right-sided defender, that is, he chooses which fullback is going to invert. So if he thinks Cucurella is going to invert, you might play Gusto to get up and down the right-hand side. If you play Reece James, who's going to invert, then you might play a more, Chilwell to get up and down. But also you might play a Calafiori, who can do a bit of both. So, of course, summer signing Tosin, Wesley Fofana, Axel Disasi, and Badiashile are all viewed as centre-backs who can compete for places in a back four or the back line containing 3 central defenders. It's interesting. Further up the pitch, Chelsea are still in the market for a striker, but have not rushed into anything yet, as Nkunku is a player they believe can fulfill a similar false 9 role as Gabriel Jesus played at Manchester City. Nkunku can also play behind the striker or from the left. In fact, many Chelsea fans who are building their, potential lineups for the next campaign, a lot of them have put, Nkunku on the left to accommodate him, and the inside players behind the strikers, Dewsbury-Hall and Cole Palmer. So interesting to see what happens there. Nico Jackson is currently the first choice out-and-out striker at Chelsea. But he too can operate from the left side. Another one we talk about, you could put Nico out left, while Cole Palmer can play off the right flank and as a number 10. Chelsea have shown an interest in a number of strikers, including Aston Villa's John Duran, Atletico Madrid's Samu Amorudurin, while a move for Victor Osimhen has not been completely ruled out if Napoli's asking price drops. Saudi Arabia is currently a more likely destination for Osimhen this summer, though. That'd be such a shame if he just leaves Europe and doesn't play in the Champions League anymore or anything like that. Oh well. Maresca did not push Chelsea into signing Dewsbury-Hall, who starred under him at Leicester last season, of course, but there was clearly a benefit to the head coach and the player linking up again at Stamford Bridge. And that's something I've spoken about here on the channel, giving this sort of next-gen Chelsea a head start in playing the type of football that Maresca wants to play, Dewsbury-Hall has signed a 5-year contract with an option of an extra 12 months, and he said this, quote, "It's amazing to be sitting here as a Chelsea player. People grow up watching and hoping to play for one day. It's such a privilege to be here. I'm really excited to get going and can't wait to show everybody what I can do." So Chelsea are planning to build a squad that is ready to cope with playing between 75 180 games next season, of course, because we're in Europe, the Conference League, and also the Club World Cup is annexed at the end of the campaign, and that's going to be extra games as well. And Chelsea apparently, reportedly, going to take their competition very seriously. That means Maresca needs at least 2 top players for each position and needs these, quote, Swiss Army knife players who can play in different roles and indeed in different systems. The Italians' philosophy revolves around a total ball domination with inverted fullbacks, overloads, and draining the opposition physically and, quite crucially here, mentally. If an opponent defends with 4, Maresca's team attacks with 5. And I say crucially with mentally because one of the greatest weaknesses of Chelsea of late, not just Pochettino, but for a while, is they might go ahead, but they always let the opposition think that they're in the game. Always. And for me, that's not good enough. Good teams, not just Chelsea teams, but good teams generally, make the opposition think that we just can't win this. And that's important. So normally Maresca likes to defend with 5, 3 central defenders, an inverted fullback, and a deep midfielder. So either Caicedo or Lavia at Chelsea. So this could be them too. There's also talk about how Enzo could be a deeper player with the inverted fullback and Caicedo goes ahead. His team can then attack through Dewsbury-Hall, Enzo Fernandez, or someone else, Cole Palmer and Nkunku and Jackson. Maresca would also have the option of rotating wingers, of course, in Raheem Sterling, Noni Madueke, Mykhailo Mudryk, for one of those more of his attacking player, the 4 attacking players behind Jackson, or another striker. Chelsea is still looking to sign a right-footed winger, which is massive, right? This is a huge story. Because all this light stuff with Elise, too much money, but they still want a good wide attacker. And interestingly, right-footed. And there'll be way more availability for right-footers as well. So we can shop in a bigger, attacker aisle, for that analogy works. It's anticipated, of course, that Rob Sanchez will start as Maresca's first-choice goalkeeper. Oh, I didn't want to hear that. And he will be expected to perform a similar role to that of Edison at Man City. Good luck! Fine now. And one of the Mads Hermansen mastered at Leicester last season. Connor Cody remarks that the Dane is so comfortable with the ball that he could play in the centre of midfield. Do you feel like that with Rob Sanchez? Because I'm yet to see it, boys and girls. Chelsea will continue to work on sales. Of course, Golding's going to Leicester. Chalobah's still in the shop window, and we don't know what's going to go on with Gallagher. And even Chilwell's uncertain under Maresca. Wow-wee. Tottenham Hotspur are interested in Gallagher, despite signing Archie Gray from Leeds, along with Aston Villa, but sources claim the England international may be reluctant to move to the Midlands. And there's still speculation and a potential situation where Conor Gallagher can sign a new contract with Chelsea, which is something we reacted to earlier today in the previous video. It's interesting, isn't it? Because he wants players that can play multiple roles. I think already we've got a lot of that at Chelsea. Jackson, left wing, striker, Cole Palmer, number 10, right wing, Nkunku, multiple different positions. Caicedo's like a deep line playmaker, but he's got so much to his, so many skill sets, or a broad skill set, that you feel like he could play in different positions. We've already spoken about, we've got fullbacks that can invert. So I feel like we do have a lot of tactically versatile players already, and I think that will be really, really important for Chelsea and Enzo Maresca. But yeah, Dewsbury-Hall fits the bill. He's a box-to-box midfielder that gets up and down, can defend, but scores and assists. Positionally versatile. But it's all talk until we see it, ladies and gents. So I'll put it out to you guys. Let me know what you think. What do you think of the article from Matt Law and the tactics and the versatility and the inverting fullbacks and all that kind of fun stuff? Leave your comments down below. Thank you for joining me. Of course, there's lots of content coming your way, so do keep it locked to the channel. And I do hope to see you back here very soon. All right, peace.